So as it is right now, we're able to look here. We can pass our input in our enter bill and everything is great, right? The actions are working and this is really good. So the idea really is that what drives this entire application is this enter bill, right? That means we need to get this information and then pass it on via a function, right? That way we can get this information, in this case, $100 or $2,000, and then later on connect to these other pieces here, right? The split amount and the tip, and of course the slider and so forth, so that we can have a total amount per person. That is the idea. The way things are right now, we are calling inside of our main content. We have all these states. That's all okay. And we're calling our input field. So it's working because we see everything working. Now, how do we get this information that we are adding and pass it on to a different function, in this case as a callback, so we can use it anywhere we want? So to facilitate our lives, really, all of this information needs to be somewhere else. What that means is, inside of my content here, I only just have these states as part of the process of state hosting, right? So remove the state going up so that we have this composable that is relatively stateless. So what I'm going to do is create yet another composable. Yes, you guessed it. I'm going to say add composable bill. I can say fun first, bill form as such. Now this bill form here is going to host all of this code. Mainly it's going to host this input field because we want to then be able to pass the value we get through our bill form, so that when we call bill form, we'll then have a trailing lambda which will have the value, which is this value here. But if that doesn't make any sense, it's okay. It will make sense, I promise you. So again, for our bill form here, what I'm going to do, first I'm going to say modifier and pass here a default modifier so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, and then there are a few things I need to pass. Let me go ahead and give it a body here. And then I'm going to pass a few things, but we're going to go slow. But what I really want to pass is this method called onValChange, because this is going to capture the values that we are getting from our text field. So this will expect a string because that's what we're getting. And then we're going to return nothing, unit like this. Okay. And as a default for now, I'm just going to return, put nothing like that. Curly braces like that. Okay, so that's the idea. So what do we want to happen here? Well, a lot of things, but for now, let's just go ahead and remove some of this code. Actually, I'm going to take all of this surface. Let's see, about here. All this code, I'm going to remove all of that and put inside here, inside of our bill. And we're going to have some issues. It's okay. And then I'm also going to get these. For now, get all of these and add them. Put them there. Okay. Of course, we'll have to do what we did before. And let's go ahead and add experimental. The first one is fine. To our composable there. Okay, so our main content is empty right now. That's okay, we'll get back to that. So our bill form here, we pass in a modifier. That's fine, on value. So this is where I want us to focus on. This is very important. And remember, because a composable function, you can pass a function as a parameter, but the beauty is that if it's the last thing that we pass as a parameter, a function, then this can be used. Then when we call bill form, this can be transformed into a trailing lambda, which is really awesome because then we're going to have access to the values that we're passing there. So now, if we go back to our input field, we have our to-do here. This is where we're going to call the onValueChanged, which is this guy here, and pass in the value that we're getting in our input field. So I'm going to get rid of this. And here I'm going to say on val change. I'm going to pass the total bill state, that value, and I'm going to go ahead and trim that value. So that way we just get the actual value. So you call trim, it just trims off all the fat, as I like to call it, everything that is unnecessary. Now, what do we gain from this? It sounds very not glorious, if you will. We get a lot, because now if I call this bill form inside of our main, I can say here bill form as such. Look at this. Of course, I can go ahead and pass a modifier, but we're not interested in that now. But I can go ahead and pass the trailing lambda. Aha! If you do that, you can see now we have the information here. In this case here, I can just change this to bill AMT amount, right? And then look at this. I can say log D, hit enter, and then I'm going to pass our bill amount like this. Say empty like that. So now things change. Main content still be called. If I run this again, look at what's going to happen. If I go and add 123, hit enter, if I go to logcat and change this to debug and look for AMT, voila, 123. This is really important because now we're able to get the amount that we want. That means we can do all sort of calculations. Going back here, if I change this to something else, I'm using my phone. Let's go back and, oh, I hit enter again. That's fine. Let's go back and say 56. Hit enter. You can see the amounts are indeed changing. So we are receiving the values that we need. So here I can do all sorts of things. I can say, for instance, that to int, if I want to change that to an integer, and I can multiply that by 100. Look what's going to happen. Let's go ahead and run again, just to show you. All right. If I put 100, hit enter, now we get 10,000 because I'm multiplying any value that I add there by 100. So 45, enter 4,500. Great. This is really, really good. Okay. And the beauty also is, if you look closely, you can see that we still have that very nice border, which is going to grow and look more like this once we're done with this app. But at least the most important thing here, the driver of this entire application, we were able to set it up for the most part, and it's ready because it's receiving the information, it's receiving our data, in this case our value, the bill, and then we're able to do something with that number. All of this is because we're able to extract that code and put in a different composable, and we have this on value change, kind of like a callback really, when it's used here at the bottom. Say on value change, we pass the value, which is going to be the state, and trim everything and get the actual value, the integer, the string, and then we pass along. So now we can use it anywhere we want whenever we call bill form, just like that.